Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today, where we'll be looking at the integration between Odoo and Starship. Your presenters today, my name is Dylan, and I am from the Australian office, located on the Gold Coast, and I am one of your project leaders. And yep, Kelly.
And then I'm Kelly Reynolds. I am the Odoo partner manager at Starshipit.
So today's agenda, we'll be looking at a brief introduction into Starshipit and Odoo for those who haven't heard of us before. We'll be covering the main features of the integration, the setting up inside of Odoo and setting up inside of Starshipit. We'll provide you with a bit of a walkthrough, so a demo. We'll go through some of your Q&As and yeah, followed by some frequently asked questions.
Cool. So Starshipit, who are we? We are an Auckland-based shipping enabler and help retailers of all sizes to grow their business through optimized shipping processes. So we've got about 30,000 customers using us worldwide. Here's some examples of our enterprise customers that you may recognize. We have customers all over the world, but the majority of our users are in like Australia, New Zealand, and then UK, EMEA, and the US. So what can we do for Odoo users? Through Starshipit, you can connect your Odoo account to over 60 couriers worldwide, and this allows you to manage all of your couriers in one place. So if you want to provide like a multi-carrier service to offer the best rates possible, or if you're in multiple countries and want to utilize a localized delivery network. So we solve pain at 3 main points, and that'll be like high churn or cart abandonment at checkout, human error in the warehouse, and those pesky where's my parcel customer inquiries. So at checkout, it's basically a case of the more options you offer, the less likely a customer is to abandon their cart and go to a competitor. A lot of the services that people offer will be ones for express, overnight, same day and pick up in store. There's actually been a huge uptake in the same day option being utilized. And this will be by like high-end retailers, fashion retailers, pharmaceuticals, and pet companies. The way that you set your checkout rates, basically everything in Starshipit will be settings on the left-hand side, and you have all your different options. For this, you just go into checkout rates. It'll break down the options by courier. So you just go onto the courier and you make sure that contract rates is selected. And then from there, you can select the services you want and add a margin to make sure that you're protected in case of any unforeseen fees or unforeseen rates. So in the actual platform, it's just all about automating as much as you possibly can to ensure a good customer journey. So a really good option for this is to set rules. This is pretty much limitless. And it's a really good way to make sure that there's no delays in shipping. So you may want to automatically set dangerous good tags for different SKUs, route it so that the cheapest courier is always selected, set authority to leave, or make sure that different couriers are automatically selected depending on the delivery location. You can actually also automatically create return labels for different couriers. Also with the dashboard, it's a really good way of just centralizing everything. It means that all of your operations are in one place under one system. You can do your wholesale from the same place you do your same day delivery, and it just, removes that risk of human error. The post-purchase engagement is really important. With us, it's really easy. You have your brand hub under your settings, and from there you just use, it's like Canvas styles, hex codes for your company colors, and then upload your logos. And from that, you can create these branded tracking pages that are really good and give live updates. You can also choose how and when you contact your customers, and that can be through email, SMS, and from, as you can see on this left-hand side here, pretty much limitless on how you contact them. In that same vein, our returns portal is really good. Obviously, there's that Shopify study that found that 92% of people who make a return will shop with that retailer again if they have a good experience. So that kind of just shows how important it is. With the returns portal, the user can create a self-service return. This portal is again completely customizable with the hex codes and logos. And then you use that same sort of branded tracking through email and SMS to just stay in touch with them. And yeah, that is Starshipit in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Colleen. I'll now be introducing Odoo and looking at what Odoo is about. So Odoo is an all-in-one management software. It is a cloud-based software that can be accessed on your mobile, your telephone, or your tablet. It's very similar to how you would access your phone and have all the apps in there. It's just for business departments. As our CEO, Fabian, mentioned, we are here to help companies grow, and we want to unleash companies' full potential by empowering users with the tools they love. Odoo's current global presence, we currently have 19 offices worldwide. We've got over 5,000 partners, and I'm sure some of you are in here today, and also 12 million happy users. From the 12 million happy users, these are some of our most prestigious clients, I'd say. So you can see on the left, on the bottom left, you have your World Health Organization, you have the likes of KPMG, and you also have your car manufacturers, or your car makers such as Volkswagen and Hyundai. How can Odoo help your business? You can see on the left-hand side, we aim to replace the standalone software. So you can see here, you have the likes of Salesforce, needing an integration with HubSpot. You have QuickBooks needed to be connected with Excel. What this does is it creates a lot of manual entry. It is also expensive for companies to integrate with one software to another. Also means that user error is also higher as they're using multiple software, and they obviously have to be trained up on all those software. On the right-hand side, we have an all-in-one solution with Odoo, covering from your likes of your manufacturing to your inventory to your sales, and you even have the capabilities of having your e-commerce and your website on there. Our positioning on the market, I think you can see on the left here, seems to be a very marketing slide, but speaking from the Aussie experience and what it's like being implementing Odoo in Australia, I can confirm and say that we have definitely dealt with clients with simple business needs, but also those with complex business needs. And from my experience, I've implemented for all types of businesses, so whether it's hard or easy. I can also say that it has been user-friendly, so of course it does take training for them to get to know how to use Odoo, but most people pick it up fairly easily. Here, these are the apps that Odoo offer. It's not all of them, it's just some of them, and it's just to give you an example of some of the departments that Odoo can help you guys target. But today we will be mostly focusing on the integration with Starshipit. So we'll be mostly looking at the apps such as sales, your website, your e-commerce, and your inventory. The integration main features. So this integration reduces the needs for oceanic customers to leave Odoo to access shipping information. Firstly, all of this is done by easily setting up your shipping methods in Odoo based on the products that you've chosen on your Starshipit account. Secondly, you can see here, this integration allows you to receive estimated and live rates from Starshipit on your sales order and your invoices accordingly. For our e-commerce users out there, those rates also appear on your e-commerce platform. By linking shipping methods to a sale order, merchants are now able to send customers and shipment information from Odoo to Starshipit by just validating the delivery. What else can be done? You can access your courier labels directly through the integration. Those labels now show up on the chatter, which I'll show later down the line. Thirdly, you'll now be able to efficiently manage some of your packages. And also, depending on your courier, you can also streamline the return process all within Odoo. We will also have now a brand new smart button called tracking. And when you simply click on it, it will take you to your appropriate courier. Setting up in Starshipit, I'll let Colleen take the lead here.
Yeah, so when you set up your Starshipit account, you'll go into the dashboard. Up on the top left will be a little tab saying Getting Started. The first thing it'll ask you to do is to input your pickup address. And the second thing it'll ask you to do is to connect your couriers. From there, That's where you can set up Odoo. All you will need is your API and subscription key, which again, left-hand side under settings will just be under the API tab.
The setting up in Odoo, I think firstly, it's important for me to mention that you guys have to set up in Starshipit. First of all, if it's not set up properly, you are likely to run into errors. It is an integration, so setting up in Starshipit is important. But when it comes to the Odoo side of things, make sure you turn on the Starshipit connector in your inventory configurations. I also want to mention that we've had some of these questions before. Some of you guys aren't able to see that in the settings. Depending on your version, you may need to go to the App Store and download the Starshipit module. Following that, go ahead and create a new shipping method, add your API and your subscription key to it, and select a service that is linked to your Starshipit account. Perfect. Let's get into the demo. So now I'll take you inside of Odoo, but I'll also show you a little bit of what happens in Starshipit, because at the end of the day, it's an integration. So what happens in Odoo also does have an impact on the Starshipit level. Firstly, go to your settings and type in Starshipit. You can see here you want to have the Starshipit connector turned on properly. As I mentioned, depending on what version you're in, you won't always see it. So if you type in Starshipit over here, you'll be able to download the Starshipit module. So make sure to download that. Following this, you can go in and go to the settings and make sure to have an appropriate address. So here, this is the information that is communicated across to Starshipit. So here, make sure you have a valid address, a valid suburb, valid state, and a postcode. A mobile and an email will also be communicated to Starshipit. So if those aren't real addresses, then make sure they are appropriate. So next, just zoomed in a little bit. So following that, we can go ahead and do the same thing to the contacts. So if you go to your contacts, make sure you have a valid address. So here we have Jordan Greenwood as an example. This is the information that is sent to Starshipit. So type in the address that is valid. Same thing as a suburb and a state. A mobile or a phone is mandatory, and your email as well. So make sure all of that is set up accordingly. Following this, we can go now to the shipping methods. So we go to the shipping methods. There are definitely a few things that are important. So firstly, we can go in and look at the express delivery. So here, make sure you create a name called express delivery, select the provider, Starshipit. In terms of the integration level, it's essentially asking you here, what exactly do you want to receive from Starshipit? Do you want to just get a rate, or do you want to get a rate and a shipment? For this example, I'm going to use get rate and shipment just because it shows you, I guess, the whole flow, and it's quite nice. Here, I've selected a route. So what is a route inside of Odoo? It's essentially how you want to go about receiving your products. Here, I've done delivering in 2 steps. So essentially, we will pick the product, we will validate that we picked it, and then we will send that off. A few more important pieces here. You have your invoicing policy. So what does that mean again? With the estimated cost, it is a cost that is predefined inside of Odoo, inside of Starshipit, and a real cost is retrieved once an order has been validated. So for our out there, it is a very standard using the estimated cost. Yeah, it's a standard practice there, as no delivery is being validated. So here, if you're an e-commerce person, you have to have it as an estimated cost. In terms of your delivery product here, this appears on your sale order line. So make sure you have a relevant product linked to it. So here I've just created express delivery. We then have a little margin here, 10%. You may be wondering why. As I mentioned, for the e-commerce, they can't use a real cost, so they often use a margin. Following this, a few more important things. We have the Starshipit API key. So I think this appeared in my slides. You need to have your API key and your subscription key. You also need to have a default package type. So here you can see I have a box set up. You need to do this as it will use this for the estimated cost. So it's mandatory to have a default package type as it's used to calculate your estimated cost. Also, you want to select a service that is linked to your Starshipit account here. So this has been created inside Starshipit or set up inside of Starshipit. You can see here you have all the options. In my particular case, as Odoo doesn't have an official account, we currently only have the Express parcel post from what I know. And I'll go ahead and confirm that. There is a few more things here that are incredibly important. So here you have the publish button. This is published to your website. So if you want this to be available for your website, make sure to click on the publish button. You then have a production and a test environment. So I strongly recommend for you guys to test it. You always want to make sure to be testing accordingly. But the difference is, I'll quickly show you when I switch over to Starshipit. Where is it? When I switch over to Starshipit, so when something is in testing, make sure to that it's in archived. So when it's in testing, it means that the order gets archived. Here it depends on your courier and whatnot, but you might have to cancel the order and get a refund. Also, when you go to ship, that's when it's in production. So make sure that is set up when you're in production. Perfect. That's one of the examples that I have created. That was for the estimated cost, but I will also show you the real cost. It's exactly the same thing. For this example, I'll use this test environment just to show you guys what actually happens inside of Starshipit when we do it. So here, this is the real cost, and it's the same thing. It's got a default package type, but if you would like to have an appropriate package type for your real cost, you can always go in and select the package type that you need. I will now go in and create a sale order. So here, this is important to note that you want to make sure that's a valid address. I've tested this. There are times where I would put an address in thinking it was a real address, but it wasn't accurate. So obviously Starshipit isn't going to be able to pick it up. So you simply want to add your customer, add your product, and you want to add a shipping method. When you do this, you can see we will use the estimated cost first. So I'll go in and do that. And I will add it. You now want to confirm it. You can now go to your delivery and you would like to validate the order. Here we have a button called send to shipper. So when we do this, let me quickly back out. When we send to shipper here, it can take a little bit. The reason being is that it's a 3-layer integration. So Odoo here is connected with Starshipit, who is connected with a Courier to retrieve the labels and the rates, which is why it may take a bit of time. And of course, we're working on that. But yeah, it's a 3-layered thing. So here you can see on the right-hand side, we have the shipping label. And we also have a tracking button. So if I click this tracking button here, it will take me directly to Australia Post. So as I mentioned, reducing the need of leaving Odoo, so you're always on. I will go back now and show you the difference between an estimated cost and a real cost. I guess it's probably better for me to kind of give you an example of why they would use an estimated cost in a sale order for those of you who aren't aware of why. Here, maybe I'll go again and I'll duplicate it. I'll quickly get rid of this. So here, let's say Jordan Greenwood has given us a phone call and he wants to buy a t-shirt, but unfortunately he can only afford it if he can only afford it if the shipping is appropriate. So he wants to find out how much the shipping will go. So here, what he would do is you would put it in, you would get the rate, and you would add it. And what happens now is Jordan Greenwood, who's on the phone to you, you can either tell him that, yeah, it's going to cost $70, and you can either decide whether he's happy with it or not. So here he can obviously go in and confirm it based on, yeah, whether he can afford it or not. So now I'll do something else and I'll use another customer. We'll use Shelly over here and we will add a product. So we can add a different t-shirt. And here we want to use the real rate. So we have your express delivery. You can see here the shipping price will be set once the delivery is done. Again, as I mentioned, it's a 3-layer integration. So the user needs to retry themselves when we are asking for the rates. So as Odoo will be, cannot retry indefinitely. So it's important that, for instance, here, if you do have an error, you need to try again, as it's not only Odoo, it's Odoo, Starship, and the Courier. And for this example here, we're using Australia Post. So if Australia Post isn't able to retrieve the rate, then it is important to try again, or yeah, maybe try later on, because it all depends on the 3 layers. Here we want to confirm the order. The big difference here, what you can see, is with the unit price, there is no unit price set on it because it is a real cost. So here it gives you an estimated cost of $12.69. What you can do here is do the delivery. You want to validate it, or you can put it in a pack. Actually, for this example, we can select what we want here. Because it's the real cost, it's going to retrieve what's on the pack. So here, I'll show you quickly. We have the pack, a box. So here, if we go to the internal link, we can see that the box is 20 by 20 and it's got a weight associated to it, and the carrier is also Starshipit. So make sure when you create a package that you have your sizes linked to it, and your carrier and also a weight. Here, I'll save it and I'll validate this example and I'll send it to shipper. Again, it's the same thing as I mentioned. It's 3 layers, so it may take a bit of time. And whether or not we found it at times where Australia Post is down, it may not work. So it's important that if you guys see that happening, there's a reason behind it. Again, the tracking button pops up, so you can always go to the tracking button and see that. You can also see now that the price has changed. I think it was $12.69 there anyway, but there will be times, obviously, that the real cost is different to the estimated cost. Awesome. Now, for our e-commerce users, it's important to note that this is also available. So I'll quickly show you. So here we are on the website and we would like to buy a t-shirt. So let's select this little Rhino t-shirt here. And you can add it to cart. You can then view cart and you can go to checkout. Here you can put in your name. So I'll just put in my name, Dylan. And I will put in an email address and a phone number. Here we have your street number. The awesome part here is, as I mentioned, this is the information that is sent out to Starshipit. So if the address isn't valid, it's not going to work. So the good thing about Odoo is it does have an autocomplete. So here, hopefully, if I type it in, it should give me an address. We'll use this one, for instance. It's in Australia. And it fills it all in for you. So I guess no mistakes can be made if you have the address autocomplete on. We can then continue to check out. And what we see here, we have obviously an express delivery is going to be slightly more expensive than your parcel post, as it's going to come in faster. We also have the pickup option, pickup in store in the Gold Coast. So that's what it looks like for your website users. So now we can switch back. We can go back to the slides. Few more important information or extra flows that I would like to discuss. Cancellations, it is definitely something that we are working on. So currently with cancellations, you have to cancel inside of Odoo first, and then cancel inside of Starshipit. You can simply do this by going to the additional information tab. One thing that I should also mention is that when we did create the sale orders, let me quickly go to Starshipit. So when we created the orders, I did mention to you guys that there was going to be a test and there was going to be a production. So here you can see the order that I made before. So you can see you have the little t-shirt, you can have the size of the box pop up. You also have the t-shirt that they bought and the weight associated to it. You have the shipping information that Odoo sends out, and you have the shipping breakdown. It's the same thing. This was the one that was published in test. It is also available in ship. So this is the production one. You'll be able to see the item that Jordan Greenwood purchased in this scenario, which was an Aussie t-shirt, $55, and also had a weight to it. So you can see all the information, including the package type and the package length. You can see the transit timelines, and you can see their address here and also your address right here. So that's how it communicates from Odoo to Starshipit. I will now switch back and I will go back to some of the important points which I may have missed. So here, yeah, as I mentioned with cancellations, you have to firstly cancel inside of Odoo. So once you validate it, there is an additional information tab that you can find, and you'll have to click cancel and then cancel in Starshipit. Of course, this is only the first, the first integration with Starshipit. So we are working on it to make it a lot better. In terms of returns, returns are only available. We can't show it today because we have a free Odoo account. We don't have one with a legitimate courier, but based on the courier that you choose, you can so use returns. In terms of packages, it's the same thing. Based on your default package type, you can select the packages you want. If you're using a real-time rate, you can use any package, but obviously if you're using an estimated rate, it will select the default package type there. Let's get to the Q&A. I see some questions in the chat here. So firstly, do we need to have a default package type on the shipping method? Yes, this is important as we are working with the estimated cost. Therefore, Odoo is sending that information to Starshipit. So the weight of the product and also the package will obviously be calculated. That's important. I see a few more. Someone mentioned, does it check whether the address is valid? So Odoo doesn't check if the address is valid on the sale order, but on the website there is an autocomplete. But also I can tell you this: if the address isn't valid, it's not going to pick up, and you might have an error message. A few more I see here. Can you not send it to the shipper before we validate the delivery? So in a practical scenario here, your shipping information is manifested after packing, so not after the final delivery is validated. So in this scenario, we'll work with two-step delivery, and we send it to the shipper on the picking for after validating the delivery when it is out of the warehouse. So yeah, it's a two-step delivery. So firstly, you pick it up, you send it off to the to Starshipit to get your label, and then you can print that label off and then send it off inside of Odoo. Someone said, do we need to configure one delivery method named Starshipit or separate for each carrier in the Starshipit account? For instance, do I need Starshipit TNT? So you can, yeah, so of course, I can show that again if we need. Let me quickly go back. So inside of Odoo, you have your shipping methods, right? And I think what this person's asking is, do we need to have multiple Starshipit? And the answer is yes, because here it depends on what the service you're providing. So of course, Starshipit offers all these services. So if you need to have all of them, you would get a different shipping method for all of these, which is yeah, important to know, and you'll always be able to select those. Let me see. There's a few more. Let's see. Someone said, do you absolutely need to be in version 17.0? We have on-premise enterprise account with version 16.3. Is it not possible to use the Starship module with that? So it's currently not possible. You need to have version 17 or after to be able to use Starshipit. So here we have, I see there's a lot of questions. So we have the contact info of Nicolas Gantois, but if you need to reach out for it, then you can contact Nicolas Gantois, or you can go to odoo.com/help if you're having any issues with the integration. There's a few more here. Can you set flat rates in the sale order? You can set flat rates in Odoo without Starshipit, no problem. Otherwise, you need to set your flat rate in Starshipit. Someone mentioned it currently seems to put the label in the chatter. If I have mini deliveries, surely the users can't be expected to go into each delivery and print the shipping label each day. So I completely understand where you're coming from here. Of course, it is the first layer of Starshipit, so it is we are improving. Yeah, it's something that we're improving on. What we can do as well is you have the attachments. So if you have all of your if you have all the options, you can go to the attachments inside of Odoo, and you'll be able to find all the all the labels. Let me see. Can weight and volume be sent to Starshipit without using a package? So if you, I think that's a good point that I may have missed. So let me go back to the product. I think I may have missed this. Another important configuration, thank you, Darren, for bringing that up to me, is to make sure that your products have a weight on it. So if you do not have a package type, you can set up the product on the weights on the products. Here you can see you have a weight on each T-shirt, and that is the weight and volume that Starshipit will pick up. So yeah, of course, if you don't have a package, you can set that out on your product itself. Let me go back. Let me see. Can you not send it to the shipper before we validate the final delivery? So that's why, that's why we use two-step picking. So maybe I'll go back here and show you what the two-step picking was like. You can see here, I see where you're coming from. So we'll use Shelley here as an example. So we, at first, what we did was we picked the order. So we picked the order, we validated. What that did was give us a shipping label, also gave us a tracking button. But technically here inside of Odoo, we haven't actually, we haven't actually sent out the package. So this is where we would go in this scenario and we would validate it. So that's why we use a two-step. So here, this is only the picking. You can clearly see it's picking, and this is where you send the information out. When does Odoo send delivery details / request to Starshipit? It's in real time, so at confirmation of the send shipper. So when you have this little button that pops up that says send to shipper, that is when Odoo sends it out. So I can quickly go again. We have the express delivery, and I'll confirm it. I'll go to the delivery and I will validate it. So here I'm validating the picking and I will send that to the shipper. This is where you have the 3 layers of Starshipit, Odoo, and the Courier. So depending on the speed. Let's see how this goes. So here now you can see what's happened here is it's done it. So we can kind of go in now and go to Starshipit and see what's happened. So what do we order? We ordered crocodile theme t-shirt. So here, if we go to Starshipit itself, we can go to our orders and we can go to the archived and we can see that it's sent it out just then. So yeah, you can see we did the orders of 132. So it's instant. So as soon as you click the send to shipper, you have all that information. You have her information, you have the t-shirt company's information, and you have the size of it all. So that's the weight of the t-shirt right there. Let's go back to the slides. I think we're almost out of time. So I think now we'll move on from the Q&A, and we will go in and follow up with the roadshow. So if you guys are interested in Odoo, go ahead and attend the Odoo roadshow in Melbourne. So it's on the 30th of May. We also have a few roadshows coming up in New Zealand. So we have one on the 18th of June in Auckland and one on the 20th of June in Wellington. And yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, today for tuning in. And if you have any further questions, go to odoo.com/help, and you'll be able to ask questions about Starshipit related. If you need, or if you'd like to use Odoo, then you can email NGA, as you can see below, as you can see here, and he'll reach out to you. Colleen, I think there's one more. There's a question related to Starshipit.
Yeah.
Sam mentioned, he said, can I assume the cost we see in Odoo coming from the contract rate?
Yeah, because that's where you need to set up your checkout rates in Starshipit. It's because they're then pulled into Odoo.
Perfect. And yeah, so yeah, if you need to speak to anyone, you can speak to any kind of business advisors in Australia. So if you email NGA over here, he'll help you get in contact. So yeah.
Yeah, and then for us, if we do a 1 month free trial. So if you are interested in trying out Starshipit, just go to the website and then you can start a free trial from there. So that's starshipit.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone today. Yeah, so to be able to use this integration, of course, make sure to remember that you're going to need to have an Odoo account firstly, but you also need to have a Starshipit account. So yeah, I think that's something that I'd like to summarize with. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for coming in today. Thank you. Bye.